Ooh, RJ, finally go to a game. What a game!
Well, you were good for some goals.
It was definitely good for some goals. 11, in fact, to all said and done. As we were on our way to the media room, someone mentioned. Can't remember the last time they
You
saw
see
an
11
11 goal
goals.
game.
Yep.
It has definitely been a while. Yeah, so another rough loss for the Kraken, that's for sure. Uh, Another you know tough one. Several things to talk about as people come in to chat here, join us. Do you have like an overall thought for the game?
I and even when the Kraken were still in the game and it was competitive and they kept kind of clawing back, it still felt like just one of those sloppy games too. Like if they did win, they were going to have to win ugly, which is not something that you want to see. And I kind of felt that way. Points in the Vegas game as well, where just there's some defensive breakdowns that haven't really been fixed. There's just other little things that, um, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough situation, right?
It
Um,
is it is a tough one. Hey, Sergeant Pickles. Hey, Brian. Thanks for joining us tonight. No, it is tough. I mean, what was it? They were down by two, three times,
four.
four times.
Yep, I
I
think the
mean,
broadcast showed four times. And then I think there was a fifth after the Ducks got that 6-4.
yes,
I think
yeah,
they were down by two five times, five separate times,
yeah.
um,
It's
which is rare in itself.
right. I mean, they at least, unlike the last two games, I think they really displayed a lot of heart and fight and will to keep pushing, that
Hmm.
energy to keep going. We felt like that had kind of been missing through that Arizona game,
That's true.
through
There
that
was no
Vegas
quit in
game.
them for sure. No
Yeah,
quit in them tonight, and that is something that different than what we saw the last couple games, which was an encouraging sign, especially from the forwards. And we know this team has had trouble scoring throughout the season, but man, they didn't show it tonight, so that was good.
yeah. Getting McCann back, huge for this team, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um, But yeah, a tough one. That goalie pull was very bad timing. Rough, man, rough. That's from Cameron. It was especially bad, like just kind of all the way around.
Yes.
Not only does the goalie pull, happen at the same time as they lose possession, but they lose possession because they're also doing a line change.
Yeah.
It
I
was just
mean,
kind of like this mess, and then they end up with only five out there because everything got all everybody was dealing with the line change. I think they just kind of missed picking up the fact that Grubauer was coming off, so you just end up with five out there and your net empty. Not a great look.
no, not at all. And I mean, this is something that we were told the Ducks broadcast pointed out. I don't know if they mentioned on the Kraken broadcast, but they didn't get an extra skater out there for the goalie. I mean,
Hmm.
that kind of thing is just inexcusable at this level. And Philip Grubauer was asked about that. He was asked, was there miscommunication there after the game? And he said there was no miscommunication. So he was called to the bench and everything. And then he was asked about, well, how do you decide when to come to the bench and like when is the right time? And he just said, it's not my call. I don't make that call. So obviously, it's on the coaching staff to make that call of when the goalie comes to the bench, and they didn't make a good call tonight.
Yeah, no, so that it was just rough play all the way around. Kind of indicative of their overall play at a couple points tonight. Sergeant Pickles with the I don't know what can be done about the goaltending. I mean, I guess the only positive is I think Gibson had a lower save percentage than Grubauer did
Yeah.
tonight.
Yep, he did.
But unfortunately, that's probably just because the Kraken didn't really get a lot of shots on goal in
Right.
this one. Only four through that first period. Yeah, there was, and Hackstall brought this up in the post game interview as well, that it wasn't totally all on Grubauer in this one. There was a couple that he had some pretty heavy screens on him, couldn't really track it. But then there's stuff like that Shattenkirk goal
Mm-hmm.
where it just squeaks through right under his arm. That's one of those things that you just can't really let through.
Right, and you certainly expect your high priced goalie to have that just about every single time,
Mhm.
and certainly, I mean, before the game, Haxtell talked about it wasn't so concerned about save percentage or things like that, but it was about getting saves at key moments in the game to turn the momentum and make sure that you stay in games, and that was a very key moment, and they didn't get the save there.
Yeah, and that one was rough. Alex bringing up the first period, team got caved in. Yeah, it was a rough first period. Everybody post game talking about that.
Yep.
That it was just hard to get going. They just felt like they just weren't really all there to start the game.
Yeah, I think Haxtell mentioned maybe the first 25 minutes or so of the game,
Hmm.
they just you weren't even pushing.
Yeah, and so a couple people asked, was that just because they were maybe trying a little bit too hard after those last couple games? They were just out there maybe pressing some. McCann talked about that a little bit and said, yeah, if anytime you're trying to make stuff happen, you're playing tight, you're really thinking about it. That's not when you're going to get the best hockey out of everybody, and that was definitely the case tonight. Lindsay with the different night, same result. Yeah, and I guess we got here a little differently than the
Yeah,
last couple of games as
the
we.
the process felt a little different, but yeah, same results. There's always something. It just felt like one step forward, two steps back all game for the Kraken, where it looks like you're overcoming a problem of the scoring not
Mhm.
being there, and then the defensive breakdowns, the goaltending just rears its ugly head, and it's back.
Yeah, so you have the couple goaltending ones, a couple times where there's no one there maybe at the point to press, and that's how you're getting some of those shots come in off the heavy screens on Grubauer because no one's really the defensemen are just allowed to take those shots for the Ducks. And then you have other instances where again, you have the defensive miscues where you have both defensemen and they're pulling off way over on one side, and lo and behold, there's somebody on the other just waiting to receive a pass. That's all that stuff's rough. I will say a few bright moments. Obviously, there was McCann coming back, scoring a couple. That's huge. Um, and like that Schwartz goal, and really all of their goals were scored from the slot, all four
Yep.
of them. And I think that's big for this team. We've been talking last couple of post games about how they've been wanting to really, they've been taking all these shots kind of from these tough angles, especially on the power plays. I think it's encouraging that they shot more from the slot and that those shots were working for them. I want to see a lot more goals like that Schwartz goal because that's a goal scorer's goal. He is going to a goal scorer's area and he is actually shooting the puck. There were still plenty of times tonight where guys had it in there and they weren't shooting the puck. They were trying to make one pass too many. I think that needs to stop some, but there was a couple that looked pretty good. Orion asking how the press box was. It was awesome. I'm
Yep. What'd you
totally
think,
happy. Totally
Dylan?
happy to be there. Got the press pass. It was a lot of fun. Uh, interesting vantage point for it. Never quite
Mhm.
seen a game like that where you're kind of almost on top of it. It
Yep.
was really interesting. The other thing is the press box is suspended kind of from the roof, so they're shaking and stuff when the PA system gets loud, crowd gets loud, all that stuff. So that's a little interesting at times too. Get a little bit of vertigo as you're kind of like
Mhm.
looking down over this ledge, all things start shaking. But no, it was an awesome experience. That being able to be there for the morning skate this morning, post game interviews, all of that, real kind of dream come true stuff for me. So thanks for asking, and yeah, the only thing that would have sealed it would have been a Kraken win. Fortunately, I
Yep.
didn't get that, but
Yep.
everything else was pretty awesome.
Yep. And it was great having Dylan around all day doing all this stuff. I'm glad I finally gave him the press pass,
Yes,
Sergeant Pickles. Glad I
finally,
stopped holding out on him.
yep, finally made that one happen. Hunter, man, I can't wait until the media spins this performance into a learning moment. We are past that at this point. They need to start pressuring Hackstall and his tactics. Only good thing was the offense. Yeah, I didn't get the vibe that that was going to be maybe the story from some of the media
No, I mean,
members.
being in the media room, I don't think that's the way it's going to come out. I think we are kind of past that point. Even Haxtell himself mentioned, he said, we're not going to focus on just the little positives that we can take away from a game like this. We're kind of past that point here. We need to focus on the bigger picture. And the players, kind of hinted that, we all need to just sit down and together and be like, all right, this is what kind of team do we want to be?
Yeah, and even when the out was kind of given to some of the players about, like, oh, like with McCann, right? You've been in and out of the lineup a couple times. Johansson's been
Mm-hmm.
around, right? Is it just that you guys are all still trying to get to know each other? All of them, to a man, said, that excuse is gone now. Like,
Yeah.
we are far enough into the season. It doesn't matter that guys have been coming in and out of the lineup. we can't use that as an excuse
Yeah.
anymore. Just need to start winning games.
And Hackstall in particular just shot it down. I mean,
Yeah,
when he was asked, still, it's an expansion team. You got guys getting to know each other. We know each other.
yeah,
We know each other. We're a team. We know who we are. That's we're past that. So
yeah.
I don't think anyone's ready to use that as an excuse anymore.
Yeah, so I think the narrative is going to start changing from here on out. After those two games, and then to come back home and lose this game tonight. And, it was mentioned, yes, the box score may be a little misleading, the 7 goals allowed, but it wasn't a great look. So uh, I think things are going to start getting, a lot tougher for everybody involved. Lindsay, for a team that was supposed to be a defensive juggernaut before the season started, our defense sure is sloppy. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, these are not the kind of game, the Kraken were in this one, but these are not the kind of games that they are built to play. I mean, you look at this team and you're thinking, oh, they're going to be in a lot of 2-1, 3-2 games, and yet they've given up 4+ goals, in a lot of the recent games. And, you just can't win games like that when you're making yourself have to score 5 goals every game to get a win. And the defense they need to tighten up. You just still see the same problems over and over again. Was it the first Ducks goal where both guys just slide over?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, on the first Ducks goal, where both defensemen just slide over to the right side to attack the puck, completely forgetting the man on the other side who's wide open. And then it happened again, like 5 minutes later, less than 5 minutes later. Grubauer bailed him out on that one. I think it was Lausanne the second time who went over, but. You just can't keep making these same mistakes. And I know that, the players are better than that. It's just a matter of making the right reads. It's not a skill issue. There's enough skill on that blue line.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say, is that there is the skill there, but it's also, I mean, it's very much just, they're just making mental mistakes. I mean, these are just things you'd hope that would be out of them for a second. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like by the time they reach the NHL level, by the time you're playing this many games up there, these aren't like rookies anymore, right? Would hope that some of that stuff is figured out. Play the man, not the puck. Sergeant Pickles coming in with the super chat. Damn right, Dylan. Press pass. We'll miss seeing Doggo tonight, but can we still get a whiteboard breakdown? Also, thank you to my fellow veterans. Yes, so was going to bring that up. Veterans Day, today here in the States. Also Remembrance Day up in Canada. It's like their Memorial Day. Both were definitely celebrated at the game. Do want to give a shout out to all the veterans that we have. I know we have a couple in chat here with us. Just all the ones I've known throughout my life. I've been very fortunate to know a lot throughout my life. Some that have had very significant impacts on me. And definitely value their sacrifice and their family's sacrifice for everything they do for us.
Absolutely, and I know we've got some veterans in chat. Thank you so much for your service. I think the Kraken did a very good job, recognizing that a lot of times today during the game. I was very pleased to see that. Obviously, it's very important.
Yeah.
As for the, let's see, we still got a whiteboard breakdown.
Yeah, unfortunately, the whiteboard was a little too big to fit on my carry-on, so I don't have that with me.
But Dylan went to my hockey game. I was playing a Kraken Hockey League game last night, and we got this picture of him. Here, let's see if it'll show up next to a big whiteboard. Oh, we can't see if it's showing up because it's delayed on the stream. Well, anyway, there it is.
Yeah.
We'll see if you got to look at it. But yeah, there we go. Kind of, you can see it.
Yeah. So sorry about that. No whiteboard for this game or that Minnesota game, but it will be back. And there's going to be some news about the whiteboard coming soon as well. So everybody can look forward to that one as well. Let's see. Lazon needs to sit for some games. He makes at least one crucial mistake every game that Larson tries his best to cover. Yeah, I mean, every time, talk about one step forward, probably 3 or 4 steps back with Lazon. Every time we think he's turning a corner and he starts playing a little better, he'll do something. Tonight, he kind of had that headshot on Lindstrom, and that kicked things off. Obviously, takes penalty there. He's got to go, fight Manson later. It was just one of those, he didn't need to do it. Like there was no need to do that. You can body him up, you can even check him, but there was just no need to just throw your elbow up like that.
Exactly. I mean, and we know that Lausanne is a player that likes to play on the edge and sometimes crosses that line. That is something that he will do. So, Yeah, I don't think it was even a matter of necessarily just, oh, accidentally elbow came up. I think,
I mean, he's like kind of looking right at him
yeah.
as he does it. Yeah. So that was unfortunate. Hope Lundstrom's okay.
Yeah, he
Aaron,
didn't return to the game.
yeah, Aaron bringing up. It felt like they were generating a lot of pressure at even strength and didn't necessarily need to pull Grubauer as early as they did. It really didn't make sense, especially because they have possession in the offensive zone, and not only do they pull Grubauer, which at least makes sense in that situation, um, they then go for a line change. I was completely flabbergasted to see them go for a line change with possession in the offensive zone when you know you're in that range where you are going to be pulling a goalie. I really don't know what was going on. I forget who had it. I want to say it was Schwartz, and he just
Hmm.
kind of goes to rotate it back behind the net, and there was just no Kraken on the other side of the offensive zone or behind the net because they were all just skating
Yep.
off. And I've never seen a team down, late in a game like that where they have control of the puck and just 4 of the 5 guys go off for a line change like that. I've literally never seen that before. I don't know if that was communicated to them from the bench or if that was just kind of everybody being kind of gassed and they thought, oh, he can hold it for a second, maybe we can,
Hmm.
get off. But it was that. I mean, that was really rough.
Yeah, I mean, I looked up after the puck goes to the Ducks defenseman behind the net. You've got 2 Ducks players behind the net, basically uncontested, with the puck. And I look over, and Grubauer's not even halfway to the bench. I mean, that goalie call came like really almost after the puck was turned over. It was,
Yeah, it was.
yeah,
There was clearly some miscommunications going on. Don't know, if that was from the coaching staff or amongst the players.
yeah.
Definitely nobody was going to clarify that tonight after the game. Lindsay, if Gru saves that muffin that went under the arm, the game is tied and they likely head to overtime. I thought the same thing. If we had that one, that one that was especially soft back, that game is going to overtime tonight. I really think um, that would have been the situation, and it's unfortunate when yes, the offense finally shows up, everything clicks there. Team comes back from that pretty dreadful first period, only for something like that to really be the deciding factor late in the game.
Yep, for sure.
Autumn, seeing RJ and Dylan together is the win we needed tonight. Yes,
Yeah.
it feels good to be doing this in person with him again. Good news, everyone. At least the Canucks got their doors kicked in 7-1. All right. Well, at least we only
Oof.
lost 7-4 with a
Yeah.
couple empty netters. Probably not very many empty netters in that one.
No. Oof.
So that is a little bit of good news from Sergeant Pickles there. Gru deserved better. Yeah, it was a tough night for Grubauer. Like we've been talking about, that one under the arm was rough, but some of those
And there
other
was a
ones,
stretch in the third period too, where they allowed like a couple, breakaways going on.
yeah,
Where
he was
just,
having to make some saves,
yep,
and then others that are just those are going in on anybody. You're
yep.
just letting like Troy Terry go right in on him, totally free. It's like, okay. Um, Sergeant Pickles, the fight they showed tonight would have closed out a couple past games, just not consistent. Yep. This was kind of the fight we saw from them earlier in the season. Definitely missed it those last couple games. Wenberg looked great tonight, was at the arena, and he stood out on a number of opportunities. He really does in a lot of the games. My only kind of thing that I would say is stop passing so much. Take some more shots. He did launch one shot. He missed high, but it rang off the glass, and it was a really good shot. Like, it has good velocity.
It does. He has that
not,
shot, and we saw it in Florida. We saw it in Columbus when
yeah.
scouting him. I mean, it's there. It really is there. He's just got to be willing to use it, and it's going to make him that much more of a passing threat as well. When players know they have to respect the shot, it's going to open up things for you passing, which I know is what he really wants to do. But you have to at least have that threat there.
Yeah, and we talked about on that 2-on-1 where he did pass over to Eberle, who was able to score and kind of keep his hot streak going, which hopefully keep that going in further from here. I was thinking in my head, I was like, shoot this puck. Like, they're not going to expect you to shoot this puck, right? Everyone knows
Yep.
you're a pass first guy. He passes. Thankfully, the pass went through, and the Ducks didn't really try to defend the pass.
No, I
very
mean,
hard.
you'd think if you're the defender, just take that pass away. That's the way you're supposed to play it anyway. And especially knowing the personnel out there, if you have time to kind of gauge who has the puck, you want to take the pass away.
Yeah, but him and Donskoy, I think the goals will start coming at some
Mm-hmm.
point for them. They're just working too hard out there for it to not happen at some point.
Yep.
I'm going to be real. I'm new to hockey, but our defense is lacking. That's from Fairs. Yeah, well, thanks for being here and for coming to hockey. Always great to hear that. Yeah, the defense is rough. Talked about it a little bit earlier. It was supposed to be kind of our thing, right? That
Yep.
was going to be the thing we could rely on. Was certainly goaltending, and then the defense working out from there. Definitely has not been the case so far this season. Like I said, it's just kind of a lot of almost rudimentary mental mistakes from a lot of guys. They're just you know puck watching at times instead of paying attention to who's in front of the net. They're doing things like we saw tonight where both the partners are drifting to one side of the
Yeah.
ice. That's never good. Um, I would hope that whether it's video coach or an assistant coach, somebody is just going to kind of get through to these guys that let's just kind of strip everything away and maybe focus on the basics. Maybe all that work they were trying to do coming out of the preseason, where they were focusing on getting these guys to work on the transition game and
Right.
the breakout passes. Maybe they're just too in their heads and they're thinking about all that stuff and they're kind of forgetting to just play defense. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know. I'm not in the room, but a lot of these mistakes really
Mm-hmm.
should not be happening. Another night of Emerald City therapy. I appreciate the Outlets event, but I hope we can celebrate on Saturday instead of bemoan another loss. I really hope so too. I've only got one more opportunity to see them win.
I know we
And
want
I
we want
want
Dylan
that.
to see win while he's here, and yeah, I mean as much as we enjoy being a place to vent after loss, like to be in there for all you guys. Yeah, we don't want to be Emerald City Therapy. We don't we
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want
I
to be
mean,
celebrating with all of you.
I am thrilled to see that there are 42 people
Yeah,
watching right now. Like that is a far better turnout than I thought there would be, given the late start for us and the result of the game coming off those last couple games. I am super ecstatic that we are all here for each other and
absolutely.
all of that from the community aspect. But yes, I would like to be celebrating a win
Hmm.
again. They just feel a little better. JMG 63 asking any moves trade wise, or do you think the Kraken will just go with what they have for the season? They might make some minor moves, but as far as like some of the stuff that's been ailing them, there's not really anything they can do. You're not moving a goalie. We've been thinking all along that they need to move a defenseman just
Hmm.
because you have so many. Poor Will Borgen has just been
I
scratched
know.
indefinitely. It seems like. Um, yeah, although I did see him, we walked past him
Yeah, we did walk
briefly.
past him after the game.
He was
He seemed
smiling.
yeah,
He
he was
seemed
smiling. He
okay.
was in good enough spirits after the
Damn, he's
game.
tall though.
Yeah, he
Wow.
is.
Yeah. But yeah. So at some point, I got to think they'll move a defenseman, maybe try to add another scorer or something.
Yeah.
But it's going to depend as the deadline gets closer, kind of where they are in the standings.
Hmm.
I think we all thought they'd maybe be off to a slightly hotter start than they have been. Sergeant Pickles, they need to get 3 points out of the next two games minimum. Yeah, I mean, we are starting to get closer to those kind of deadlines we were talking
Yeah.
about, where the sample size gets large enough that you can start looking. It only a couple games ago I was talking like, okay, things haven't been looking great, but they're only
Yeah.
3 points out of a playoff position. Well, they're
Yeah.
now 8 points out of a playoff
Yeah.
position. That's a big difference. So,
I was just
um,
checking the calendar there, and I give Thanksgiving as kind of that mark. We're 4 games out from Thanksgiving.
yeah,
You got to start banking those points.
yeah. Alex, geez, that press box sounds super high. It is pretty high because it kind of hangs out
Yeah.
over the. I mean, it's kind of almost in front of the upper bowl, really.
Yeah, it is. It's been in front
Yeah,
of it. I mean, and if you've ever been in the upper bowl seats, kind of behind it, it blocks like the jumbotrons. It's, um, yeah, it's up there.
it's an interesting setup. I've never seen anything like it. But yeah, it really then gives you got like what, maybe a foot and a half of desk in front of you, and then like a 6 inch high little
Yep.
plexiglass thing, and then otherwise
And then it
nothing.
like drops right into
Just
the
lower bowl
yeah,
below
like
you and kind
lower
of the
lower
ice.
bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my fear of heights has kicked in a couple times looking over the edge.
I kept
Can
getting
be a bit
scared and
unnerving.
people walking behind me, like if they just
I know,
nudge
just
me, you're
bump
just
you.
like,
Yeah, you feel like,
okay.
and there you go, you're off the edge and not surviving that one.
Yeah, but they gave us pizza, so it's okay.
Yeah, no, pizza was good.
Yeah.
Pizza was good.
How many games can we win in the season? So we talked before the season about them being, maybe close to 100-point team. Maybe not gonna happen now.
Yeah.
We talked, what kind of 40 wins, but then a lot of overtime losses. That's not really happening. Um, I don't know exactly what they're on pace for, but right now I do think expectations maybe do need to be lowered.
Yeah, I mean, the point projections that I've seen from some of the statistical models are now looking at kind of mid to high 80s, like 88, 87, 88 points. Then there's still time to, improve that. That's just based on this early pace. But yeah, I think we're probably thinking maybe around 90, if things start to turn around and they are the team that they look like in the good times.
Yeah. Reading ID, that looked like a fun game to catch in person. Last few minutes accepted. Yeah, it was a fun game. A lot of back and forth. Any
Mm-hmm.
high scoring game is fun to be at.
Yeah.
Anytime crowd gets that into a game,
Yeah.
maybe not during the
And
first
with some of
period,
the
but
chippiness too. I mean,
hmm
and especially behind the play, it was a good one to be at. I don't know how much the broadcast picked up, but there was a lot of stuff behind the play where if you knew where to look,
or
like
after whistles, yeah,
yeah,
there was some good stuff. That Tanev Gibson stuff, like
oh
they looked like
yeah,
they wanted to fight. That was I don't know if the broadcast picked that up. I'm sure they must have showed it during a stoppage,
yeah,
but that was pretty intense there. Press box in Sunrise is at the same level as the top row. Yeah, I think that's pretty common. I think in most arenas, or it'll be kind of like kind of right
like
above.
right above it exactly.
That's the way it is
But
in like Anaheim, just
yeah,
for example. I know we don't want to be reminded of them right now, but um, who would have thought the Kings would be tied for second in the Pacific and the Kraken dead last when
unbelievable.
comparing rosters? Yeah, I mean, I guess that first one.
Yeah, Dylan. I
Uh,
think Dylan did call
I
that
thought they
one.
were going to be a little hot this year, but yeah, no, this so far the Pacific Division has not totally been what we thought
Yeah.
it was going to be. Um, would you say this team is hack stalling out? But
Um,
good, nice one, Lindsay.
I wouldn't say it in front of him.
Oh
No,
boy,
no.
he came into that press conference and yeah, people weren't very quick to start asking questions.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know, and kind of rolling right into
You
Jay
can tell
Gar's
he feels the
question.
pressure.
Yeah, I don't think Hackstall's the right coach for us. It's possible. I mean, he is a development coach. We thought that might not be the right fit for an
Hmm.
expansion team. It's not really a young team. You're acquiring veterans.
Right.
Maybe you want a more player focused, motivational type guy, and maybe that is partly what's to explain for what's happened so far for everyone.
Yeah.
Can't get outshot 2-1 and have bad goaltending and expect to win. That is true, Alex.
Yep.
I don't think anybody would disagree with that. They at least came out in that second period and tried to reverse things a couple times, but
Hmm.
it was rough. Uh, let's see. Hayden is a scratch against former team was sad.
I wanted to
Yeah,
see a Hayden Fleury revenge game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lindsay also wanting that along with Four Horsemen. Yeah, it would have been fun. Granted, he wasn't with Anaheim super long. I mean,
No,
they
he
got him
wasn't.
at the
Like,
deadline
there's
last
not a
year.
whole lot of like revenge to be had, and they acquired him at like they're the team that believed in him.
Yeah,
Yeah. If he plays against Carolina, that's the revenge game.
yeah. Brian, my 3 stars, McCann, Schwartz, and Beniers, who scored another 2 goals tonight. Yeah, good for bringing up
What do you have?
Beniers.
6 in his last 3 games. I
He
mean,
is
he looks
on
very
fire
good.
right now. Really happy. He's worked on his shot and his offense. He
Yep.
said that's what he wanted to work on. He's clearly doing it. That's what you want to see from a high draft pick like that. The dedication, knowing what the holes in your games are, and then just being
Yep.
able to fix it because you're that talented. I think that's a lot of hope for the future. But yeah, otherwise, McCann, Schwartz, they both played really well tonight.
Yep.
Do you have a third
Um,
Kraken?
it's kind of quietly. I thought the Giordano Alexiak pair did well. Like as for all the defensive breakdowns they had, it was rarely them.
Hmm
So yeah, I'll give Gio and Alexiak a little shout out there.
Yeah. On a positive note, Troy Terry is returning value for me, picking him up in fantasy hockey. Good on you, Aaron, for seeing that one coming.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
as someone who kind of used to follow the Ducks, and obviously I'm still down in Southern California, so I do. He was pretty disappointing last year. I think people thought he was going to kind of be this last year. Wasn't the
Mhm.
case, but yeah, at least you benefited from tonight. Those couple he got. If we continue to lose, do you think Hackstall will get fired? I don't know that they'll do an in-season firing.
That would really surprise me. I think he's pretty much got the full first season. I mean, there's always, I guess, levels of bad it can get to. He's
Hmm.
going on a 20-game losing skid, and then all bets are off. But I don't see that in the cards.
Yeah. Um, I would be surprised, but at the end of the season, depending on how they finish, that could definitely be a possibility. Everyone talking about here,
Hmm.
me not having the whiteboard. Guess you'll just have to draw on RJ. Autumn
Oh
bringing
boy,
up, we can use RJ's chest as a whiteboard. I don't know what kind of white balancing that on
yeah,
the
I
camera
know.
might be
Be
very
too white.
difficult.
I don't know.
It's whiter than a whiteboard. Yeah, no, it's coming. Don't worry, guys, it's coming. Tonight was an interesting wrinkle in the continuing adventures of Lazon for sure. Yeah, got to see something a little different from him. Do you think player safety will give Lazon a fine or suspension for that hit? I do think maybe a fine,
Yeah,
just
I might see a
because
fine. They'll look at it.
just because he wasn't given anything substantial in game, and so
Right.
sometimes they then want to like kind of
Hmm.
back that up just to reinforce like, hey, don't think you'll always get away with this.
Yeah.
I don't know about a suspension. They were very careful not to show it very often
But
in
yeah, we
moving
did. We
that.
still we watched two angles of replay, and we still didn't get a good look at it. I'm sure there's a better angle out there somewhere that shows just how much he got the elbow up or how much head contact there was. At the end of the day, we don't know exactly. We'll
Hmm.
still keep on the lookout for a better angle of it. But yeah, it looked to be like something that could warrant a fine.
Yeah, Autumn asking, how does Fleury go from being one of the biggest scoring threats to sitting? I mean, he was truly truly horrendous in that Arizona game,
Yeah.
and that definitely hurt him. Hackstall does seem like one of these kind of guys, and I see it kind of coming more with the next question from Hunter about Will Borgen, what he's got to do to get in the lineup. I do think Hackstall is one of these guys where if he sees something and he really has an issue with it, that really sticks with him,
Hmm.
and then because they are so deep at the blue line, he doesn't then feel the need to really go back to you.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem for
Oregon.
Borgen. Yeah, thank you for Borgen's chances of getting in is usually maybe there's one defenseman who does something that Haxel doesn't like, and like, all right, we need to get him out of the lineup. But given the seven that rotate, there's always a guy, who's ready to go back in, and so
Hmm.
that's where it's just so difficult for Borgen's path.
Yeah, and then again from Autumn, that was wild. Loved the idea of an early goalie pull, but that was brutal execution. It was brutal execution.
Yeah, again, we're not against the early goalie pull, and,
Yeah.
and the analytics back that up. That's
Hmm.
generally a good thing to do. You don't get scored on as often as you would think pulling the goalie early, but again, you've got to execute it properly.
Yeah. Brian, honorable mention goes to Susi. That play he made when his stick broke, hustles back, nearly an odd man rush, and he bodies the puck carrier at the blue line. Solid play there. That was a solid play. The other one where the puck kind of gets lost up in his skates
Mm-hmm.
and he can't really quite see it. And what did he do? He played the man, not trying to play the
Yep.
puck. He just kept the guy at bay, just kept back,
I want to get
going
Zegras,
back.
right?
Yep, yep.
Yep.
And just made sure he had his guy covered, and Zegras was not going to get around him to play the puck, even though he didn't know where it was. He didn't panic. He
Mm-hmm.
did what he was supposed to do.
And that's right on brand for Carson Soucy. That's
Hmm.
exactly what he brings. Just a solid defenseman who is going to play the body like that.
Yeah, that McCann shot was
Oh
truly emotive.
yes.
Yes, it was a
Oh, that was
fantastic
sweet. I
shot.
wasn't even sure that it went in watching it at first. Just the one first look, because it just rimmed around the outside along the posts. Gorgeous, gorgeous shot.
Yeah, and I missed it.
He missed it,
The
yeah.
one goal, the 11 goals scored, the one I missed.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Notice a trend that if a guy was tied up in the corner fighting for the puck, two or three others would join, leaving either half the ice open for the Ducks breakaway or nobody to crash the net. So yes, I was going to bring that up, and that was definitely something. If I had the whiteboard,
Yeah, seriously.
I noticed that actually the last couple
Yeah,
games
here, let's.
where I noticed that the last it was demonetized. We can't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
no, that's
Um,
true.
I noticed that the last couple games is that their system is to just kind of, I don't know, go with the triangle offense. They just brought in Phil Jackson, I guess, where they just, yeah, they'll create this little triangle of guys there, and almost every time the puck then goes behind the net around, or it goes somewhere else and somebody gets lost, and it's so frustrating to see because I'm not sure I notice anybody else do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I know it's getting late for some people heading out. It looks like Sergeant Pickles is heading out. Night, thanks for joining us. If you do, let's see. Yeah, Brian noticing that too. last 3 games are gut wrenching. They have been. It's been pretty rough. Send the shots and look for rebounds. We know they can rack up shots when they let it fly. We do. Uh, I just I don't know. Uh, I want more of what we saw tonight from the goals, where they were all scored from the slot and they were just shooting the puck, like the
Mm-hmm.
McCann goal, like the Schwartz goal. I want more of that. I think that's kind of going to be key for them right now, because the kind of grinding it out thing
Mm-hmm.
isn't working. So you definitely need to do something
Yeah.
else. Orion Dylan, could you get into a Sharks game or any plans to Vancouver for a game? No, I'm only, I think both of us were only able to really get credentialed through the Kraken.
Yeah.
That's really where our relationship is with their PR team and everything like that. I do want to go to, like when the Kraken come down in December to Anaheim. I
Mm-hmm.
would like to go to that. Tickets generally pretty inexpensive
Yeah.
in Anaheim.
And I believe it's January or it wouldn't be February, but I think January there's a little road swing that they take Anaheim and LA that I might come down for, and we could get tickets and potentially cover it that way.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. Borgen smiling because each loss brings him closer to the lineup. One would assume, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know.
And Autumn also going to their first game on Saturday. Can't wait. Yeah, I hope you have a great time.
Maybe you're what they're missing, the good luck charm,
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully we get a win. Another one against Minnesota so early. It's kind of interesting. They're gonna win 32 games this season to go with the whole 32nd team thing. Just kidding. I hope they win more than that. But at this rate,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean 32. I would
let's
take
hope not.
based on where we're at right now. I would
Yeah.
take a 32, and I do think that that would put them in contention for a wild card spot for sure.
Really?
Yeah, don't you?
64 points?
Well, throw in overtime losses
74
too.
points? I don't think that gets them anywhere close.
It's happened. Would have last year when there was,
Well, okay, yeah, in a 56 game schedule, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be raising a banner for 32 wins.
Yeah. This is from John. I'm definitely a fan of Geeky, but was there a reason given for him starting between Eberle and Schwartz? I noticed it didn't seem to last long. Still frustrating that they're still shuffling lines. Yeah, so that everything got shuffled around after that first period. Hextall brought that up. They didn't want to put McCann back in at center right away just because he's coming off the COVID stuff. Wanted to try to ease him back into the lineup and stuff. So I think that's why we saw the lines that we saw down there. Enjoying the game. Recommend walking around the whole arena. Lots of cool views. Yeah, RJ gave me a good tour this morning after the morning skate stuff. Got to see everything. Obviously some stuff wasn't turned on. All the video boards and stuff around that make it look like you're underwater. Got to see some of that tonight. That was really cool. But otherwise, it's a beautiful arena. They did a really good job. I like the layout a lot. I like that you can kind of walk in. Well, first off, just walking in and being kind of upper bowl is really trippy, and I like that. And the other thing is, I do like just kind of the way you just see out over things.
Yep.
Like the concourse is very open to the actual arena itself, and I think that's
which
really
is
neat.
nice. In a lot of arenas, you'll just see kind of separation between the concourse, like walled off, and the arena versus it's different. And I'm going with that. Can we get a Dylan review of the arena/game experience?
Yeah, I thought it was a really fun arena. I think it was pretty well thought out. That's obviously what you want to see. Isn't always the case for some reason at times, but I think it's really well thought out. I think that they designed it with the Kraken in mind. I know obviously they'd like to bring an NBA team to join them there, and you have WNBA stuff there too, but it did feel like there was a lot of touches that really make it feel like the home of the Kraken. I love having the Twins.
Yes.
I like the double video board setup. I think that's something other places should consider. I like the vibe. I thought they do a good job of just keeping things exciting throughout the game during the stoppages, all of that. Music was, of course, great. Yeah, good food options. Too expensive, but
yeah. I don't think we haven't ordered anything from any of the food there yet, but eventually we'll get that $14 cookie.
Yeah. Fares, they referenced the Gibson Tandem stuff, but then didn't show it. That's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, it is.
I really thought they were going to drop drop them.
Oh yeah.
Every time I see Matty Beniers highlights, I'm brought to happy tears. Yep. Morgan is the dude we got from Buffalo or Columbus.
Buffalo. Yep, he's got
And
from
he,
Buffalo.
unfortunately, he missed a lot of last season due to an injury.
I think he only played like 10 games, maybe less than that.
Yeah, so it's just kind of unfortunate for him that he's been out of action so long now. What are our 3 best D pairs in your opinion? Well, I do like Giordano with Alexiak.
Yep, I was gonna say Gio Alexiak.
I liked the Dunn Susie thing tonight. There were times where Dunn, he has issues defensively, but he kind of makes up for that offensively.
I like Dunn Susie and Dunn Fleury, depending on how much offense versus defense you want.
Yeah, and I like Larson with anybody, basically, except for Fleury. That should never happen.
Yeah, Larson Fleury never happened, but other than that.
Yeah. Since Pickles left, I think the bottom line is it's going to fall on the players and coaches to get themselves out of this funk. New players aren't coming, at least until they are totally out of it. I think the Ducks Kings back-to-back is in March. That's all from Aaron.
Oh, yeah, maybe that is in March.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plug the merch.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yep.
Go grab it. Yeah, I do think at some point, I think we are at that point too where it is on the players, it's on the coaches. I think they're starting to feel that pressure too. They've with those references tonight as far as, hey, we can't use the excuses of all coming together. We can't use the excuse of being the new expansion team and we're just trying to figure things out and get comfortable. I do think that there is a sense within the organization and within the team that they are out of excuses and it is put up or shut up time. And if they can't do it, they're going to have to really start facing the music here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, merch time.
Yep.
We've got Emerald City Hockey T-shirts, masks, sweatshirts, all that.
Yeah.
With our cool logo on it. We also have some more player-based designs in the works.
Yes.
You'll see those soon, coming up just in time for the holiday season.
Yeah.
Think about getting early holiday gifts, getting out ahead of it. Don't have to worry about it when it comes to December. Or, my family's case, it's like Thanksgivnica this year.
Mm-hmm.
Hanukkah's super early. So there's that too. My parents are already getting on that for my gifts.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good time to get some ECH merch.
Yeah. Good job on that, RJ.
Yeah, we're getting better.
Yeah. The Kraken are 0 for 3 with me wearing my new jersey, so pretty sure I'm the problem. Sorry, guys. Switching jerseys for Saturday. I mean, if you're going to take that on, and if it works, here we go. But, I think at this point, Thursday was supposed to be their good luck charm.
I know, right? Yeah, Thursday. They were 3-0 on Thursdays this season, and I think 1-8-1 on every other day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And even this Thursday couldn't get it done. So just have to be better on those other days of the week. There's 6 others.
Yeah,
you can get wins.
Just to skip to the latest one from Ryan, just because it's pretty funny. Just by mentioning Larson Fleury, the NHL has updated tonight's scoring final. Anaheim now has 8 goals. That is pretty good, Brian.
Yeah.
Scott R. asking if we addressed the goaltending issues already. It's the second game that lands on Grubauer. GAA save numbers don't lie. We did talk about that earlier. As always, all of these live broadcasts, if you miss them or if you come in late, they do get saved right to the channel, so you can watch them then next morning or whenever you want. But to kind of quickly summarize, the Shattenkirk goal, pretty unacceptable under his arm.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones were rough. Deep pairings didn't exactly do him many favors. He faced a lot of breakaways, odd man rushes and stuff. And then a couple of them were just off ridiculous screens that I'm not sure anybody was going to be able to stop. But yeah, it still wasn't great tonight. And the only positive from a strictly numbers standpoint is that John Gibson technically had worse numbers. So
yep,
there is that. Fair's saying, the Twins look nice. I really think that's a special thing that they got going on there.
Yeah.
And as much as I want it to be unique to Seattle, I also just think it improves game viewing experiences, so I want it everywhere.
Yeah, the one thing I do want to keep unique to Seattle is like the windows, because the Sabres coach,
awesome.
like Granado, came in the other day. He's like, any new arena they're building, they should put windows like that in it. Agree, it looks great, but like I kind of want that to be our thing.
Yeah. Lindsay asking if Saturday's a must-win. The games don't get any easier with the Thanksgiving week swing.
It's hard to call any game a must-win in November, but man, they need to turn things around. They need to bank some points. You need points. Get to overtime. At least
Right.
Bank at least 1 point.
I think if you can get at least one here against Minnesota, and then go into that Chicago game on Wednesday.
Chicago, you better win that one.
And you have to win that Chicago game. If they lose that Chicago game, that's like the Arizona game all over again. I don't even care what the loss looks like.
Nope, it's no excuse.
There's no
You
excuse
have to get 2 points out of that game.
Yeah, so I'd say that's maybe more so the must win.
Yeah.
And from Brian, good night, guys. Thanks so much. Be back Saturday. Hashtag keep Kraken. Thanks so much for the super chat, Brian, as always. Yes, I know you're on the East Coast. Thanks so much for staying up with us. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, like after 2 a.m.
Yeah,
man.
Especially after some of these tough losses.
Really appreciate you sticking with us, like Brian. Late after these tough losses, things will get better, but great to have you as always.
Yeah. Fairs, I think we beat the Wild and Blackhawks. I sure hope so. I mean, they're certainly capable of it. It's just unfortunate that it feels like to get wins right now, we need everything to come together perfectly instead of being able, like a good team
to win ugly.
Teams, where you can win ugly. Maybe, okay, things didn't go totally to plan, but we were able to come out ahead. Right now, it very much feels like with this team, everything's got to be firing all cylinders in order for that to happen. And yeah, I don't know that you can really be a playoff team, or certainly not an effective playoff team if that's the case. Lindsay, I will be even more furious if they lose to Chicago with all the awful news coming out and mishandling of the Kyle Beach situation. Absolutely need them to win that one. Yes, all of that is, horrible. Everything that went on there. We talked about it on the podcast, I think 2 podcasts ago.
Yeah.
And it's just awful how they've handled that and how the league kind of continues to handle it as just more and more news and fallout comes from that whole situation. But yes, it is kind of added incentive to beat Chicago. Yeah, for sure. But I think that's gonna do it for this.
Yeah, I think so. It's later than usual, so we're getting past 11.
Yeah, Scott, we'll make this the last question from Scott R. If you're the coach, what can even be said right now? I don't know. I think to some extent, coaching, I think they should focus on coaching right now and just trying to fix some of the mistakes, especially defensively, and try to get the goalies right. Otherwise, I think some of the stuff's just going to have to come from within the team. I think somebody's going to have to stand up in that locker room and just be like, okay, guys, enough's enough.
Yep.
It's unacceptable at this point. We're all better than this. We all know we should be better than this. Everyone knows we should be better than this. We have to just be better than this. And, however they want to say that and however they want to get that message across, I think that's kind of the thing that needs to happen. Is I think unfortunately, it has to come from within.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
All right, so thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for sticking with us through the late start and sticking with us through another tough loss. It's great to see everybody. As always, we totally enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even with all the losses recently, we love doing this. We love doing the post game and just kind of having this community and chatting with all of you. So thank you for joining us. It it certainly makes our night coming back from the game.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see you all on Saturday.